All right, my fifth graders, I know you've all been reading Macy McMillan and the Rainbow Goddess by Sherry Green. And I've been reading this book just like you all, and I've come across some words that I don't see very often, and I don't always know what they mean. And that's okay. Raise your hand if you've come across some words that you don't know what they mean or they are unfamiliar to you. I'm glad to see I'm not the only one. Because sometimes we come across words that we don't know and we might just skip over them while reading. So far, I've told you to keep track of the words that you run into that you don't know, but we haven't applied any strategies yet for learning the meaning of these words. There must be a better way to go about this than just skipping over words and writing them down. In today's Reader's Workshop, I'm going to introduce you to a word map. Word maps can help you understand how a new word is related to words and examples you already know. So I'm going to read pages 103 to 112 of Macy McMillan and the Rainbow Goddess. I'd like all of you to follow along as I read. As we read, we will underline words that we don't know or that you would like clarified. I already have a few words picked out that I will underline, and I would like you to let me know if you hear a word that you want to underline by saying stop. Don't worry, you're allowed to say stop while I'm reading for this activity. I want everyone to look at this whiteboard, and hopefully I don't block it the whole time. I've written the words synonym and antonym at the top because we're going to be finding synonyms and antonyms for the words we choose to put on our word maps. Can someone raise their hand and remind us of what a synonym is? Well, a synonym is a word or phrase that means the same as another word or phrase. Can someone else raise their hand and remind us of what an antonym is? Well, an antonym is a word or phrase that means the opposite as another word or phrase. Let me uncover this. I already wrote them down. So now we have that to refer to, our definitions of synonym and antonym. Now, look below at the diagram that I have drawn. This is our empty word map. I'm going to show you exactly how to use a word map for a word you may not know or need to clarify. Everyone turn to page 103 in your books, and I will do that too. So I remember when I was reading this page, I remember coming across a word that I wasn't so sure of. On line 12, look at line 12, it says, a bosom friend. When I read this, I wasn't so sure about what it meant. I'm going to write bosom in the center of my word map. And where's my... Okay. So I'm going to write it right in the center of my word map. Bosom. All right. I'm not sure what this word means. So I'm going to look up, I would look up the definition of bosom, and I would particularly use the Merriam-Webster dictionary on my computer. But I've already done this for the sake of time. So the dictionary definition that I found through an online search says close or intimate. I don't want to just copy down the definition word for word, so I'm going to write it using my own words. Now, this definition for bosom was a really short definition, and that's not always going to be the case with the words that you choose. So just keep that in mind. So for this, I'm going to write a close friend as my definition. A close friend. Okay. When you do this on your own, I will expect you to rewrite the definition you find using your own words, because writing the definition in our own words helps us remember the vocabulary word better. So now I need to write a synonym, and oh my gosh, I completely forgot to label my boxes. So let me do that really fast. Alright. I got myself figured out here. Okay. So, again, like I said, I'm gonna need to find a synonym for the word bosom. Let me move out of the way. I'm gonna write close as my synonym, because I can replace the word bosom with close without changing the meaning of a sentence. So what I mean by this is, if we're referring to someone as, like if I was gonna say, my bosom friend's name is Abby, I could replace the word bosom with close, so I could say my close friend's name is Abby. And it wouldn't change the meaning of the sentence. I'd still be saying the same exact thing, just with one different word. So I'm gonna write close in my synonym box. Close is a synonym for bosom. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the antonym box over here. I need to write an antonym for the word bosom. Let me think. What's the opposite of a close friend? I think the opposite of a close friend would be probably a distant friend. So I'm going to put distant in my antonym box. Distant is an antonym for bosom. Now I'm going to find an example I can use for bosom. Can anyone think of an example of a bosom friend in Macy McMillan and the Rainbow Goddess? Well, I can think of an example. Macy and Olivia are bosom friends. If you remember from the text, Olivia is Macy's best friend, and so it makes sense for us to call them bosom friends because they're so close. So I'm going to write Macy and Olivia are bosom friends. Okay, and so our last step is to find a non-example for the word bosom. So remember, a non-example would be something that might demonstrate the opposite of the vocabulary word. So in this case, the opposite of bosom. So I think I have a good non-example. How many of you have seen the show SpongeBob SquarePants? This was one of my favorite shows when I was little. In the show SpongeBob SquarePants, there are two characters named Mr. Krabs and Plankton. These two characters are always fighting because Plankton wants to steal a secret formula from Mr. Krabs. So in this case, Mr. Krabs and Plankton are not close friends at all. In fact, they're enemies. So I'm going to use this as a non-example for bosom. So I'm going to write Mr. Krabs plankton. All right. Awesome. So, during your independent reading time today, I'd like for you to underline any words you want to know more about. I want you to complete a word map for at least one of the words, just one, that you underline. You may look at the word map I have up here to help guide you in creating your own word map. At your desks, you each have a copy of a blank word map, so use this for the word you choose.